Let go, preparing. Hello, Facebook friends. It is March 4th. I'm Jen Phillips with Jen Phillips LV and justaskjenlv.com. And I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Her name is Rachel Williams. And I met her through this tremendous coaching program that we are both a part of. And actually, it's not even a coaching program. We have transformed our lives with our mentor. And would never have met Rachel without this guy, but she on her own has been searching for answers. And I don't know if you are that woman or that man that has been like searching for answers. You've read all the books you can think of. You've attended every seminar that comes in your email and all the free stuff that comes across your Facebook. And you're like, why can't I get ahead? And so Rachel started Lion Frog Coaching, and she is a certified coach, and she helps people. And we're going to learn about how. And so today we're going to meet Rachel. So Rachel, welcome, and tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, Jen. Yeah, I am so grateful to know Jen through Dr. Trivedi's world. You just meet the coolest people, right? Yeah. So Jen is right. I am a certified life coach, and I work with women who are battling with burnout, and I help them achieve success with balance so they can live a life of fulfillment. And so that has me working with quite a few different types. I've got entrepreneurial women. I work with corporate women who want to like go next level and get promoted, but are afraid that they have to do so at the expense of their self, sanity, personal life. And it all stems from kind of the experience that I went through, which we can talk about, but I'll let you steer, Jen.
Okay, so I'm wondering, because I don't know if you know this, but I taught for 17 years with the school, and I quit. And I quit for 2 years because I was exactly where you're talking.
Exactly.
I don't know a lot about teachers, but the typical lifespan of a teacher is about 5 years, and maybe 7, and then special ed teachers are less. And so when we're looking at that, and in my story, like I had worked 6 years in one building and did math teaching most of it, and then I had switched and I became an excuse me, a technology coach, strategist at another building. And so I was able to leave the job of teaching, but I got to teach adults, which is really where my passion lies anyway. And my burnout happened when I got forced back into the classroom. So tell us about your burnout. When did your burnout happen?
So my burnout was right around the age of 30. So I've been a high achiever my whole life. And in fact, one of the things that Jen regularly attends is my High Achievers Happy Hour, where we just, get a bunch of professionals together, because this is like an epidemic, man. Like, I always say I'm here to stop the I'm more stressed than you competition, because it's a thing, right? Like women are like, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. How are you? Oh, I'm so busy. I'm doing this and that and this, and I'm just so stressed, and I'm not sleeping, and I'm living off coffee, tea. And it's like, oh, girl, well, let me tell you how I am running myself into the ground. And it becomes like, it's like what society expects of you, right? And you feel like if you're not running on fumes, then you're the weird one, right? So my high achieving pattern started when I was a kid. I graduated valedictorian. I went off to college. I got straight A's in college. I graduated with a degree in biology and a minor in chemistry. And that led me into the environmental consulting world for big energy projects, which was an amazing career. It was really cool. I did that about a decade. And just the way, that life worked out, I climbed the corporate ladder very quickly. I was dealing with multi-million dollar projects. There was a lot of, like prestige that comes. And so I just kept like getting the things and hitting the promotions and buying all the material things. And kind of one of my things is I said I had the house, the spouse, the fuzzy kids, the car, the career. And on the outside, I looked like I had it all. But on the inside, I was freaking dying. I gained 60 pounds in like a year. I had acne. My hormones were all over the place. My hair was falling out. I had this insane anxiety that eventually manifested as OCD and germophobia. I've never been anxious a day in my life until like I hit this burnout phase, and I I was doing what I thought women were supposed to do when you're living this checklist life. Is I just kept pulling up those big girl panties and like, like going on every day like I'm strong. I got this. But in reality, if I got really honest with myself, I found myself wondering like how much longer can I keep going like this?
Wow. It's so interesting hearing you say that, because I'm thinking about the women in my life, and you're so right. Like when I was going through my divorce, and even like for like, okay, it's been 7 years now, but like at least the first 5. Oh my gosh, I'm a single mom. I've got 4 kids. I work full time. Oh, do you get alimony? Do you get child support? No, I do it all on my own. And I had a business on the side, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And it's like, and like people would say to me, and they say this still today. So I'm looking at them like, what the hell are you talking about? They go, you're so inspiring. And I'm like, why? I go to work, I pay my bills, I take care of my kids. Yes, I have lost weight, and that was work. Like it wasn't like magical. I didn't pay money to shave it all off of me, but it was just like people look, we look at each other and we look at it, and it's like, I look at you and I'm like, okay, I see this beautiful, vibrant woman who has a smile on her face, and we have no idea what's going on inside. Right.
Totally.
And it's definitely like, I'm real good. I can put my face on too, and people look at me and they're like, well, and then I look at them like, what do you see? I don't understand what you see, because I feel like a failure every day because I didn't do this one thing. My laundry's all over my living room right now because it came out of the dryer slightly wet, and then some stuff I don't put in the dryer, and it's all over my living room right now. I have more laundry in the dryer, which is, well, it's going to need to get folded at some point. And my air hockey table is full of all my business supplies, and my business dishes need to be done. Like I have, thank God for Dr. Trivedi, because I finally let go, and I'm like, I am not shoulding on myself anymore. So women, if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I should do this and I should do that, and you know what? You should. Who the hell says so?
Exactly.
If who's telling you should? Because if it's not you telling you should, and then if you're telling yourself you should, that's bullshit. So just so you know, someone else has programmed you in your mind if you're living a life of should. Because when you're in burnout, you have lived a life of could, would, should, and then you regret, the life of regret. So I've got the beach behind me, right? I'm like, okay, this is where if I had my druthers, I'd be every day of the week. But even like Dr. Trivedi says, that only lasts for like a week, 2 weeks. Like eventually it's not enough. And so those of us that have lived COVID for this last year, I've kept working. I haven't lost my job. I had to work at home, but I still had a job. There are people who didn't have a job. And for some of them, they were been begging for some time off. Well, then they got it. And then it didn't stop. And then it's like, and then what do I do? And through the COVID, I birthed 2 different businesses. My other business has grown in income. I've met tremendous people with Dr. Trivedi Land. I've got us a new partner at our school building who started a foundation during COVID to feed hungry people out of her own pocket on what's that called? Unemployment. Like she figured out how to use her stimulus and all this, and find out how to get donations, and she's helping people. So is she really wanting to go back to work at the doctor's office where she was like, anyway? No.
Right.
It's like, what do you want to do with your life? So Rachel, when you were thinking about like, when you think about now, let's not go back to burnout land. Let's not go there. Let's go like, when you look at your life now with you and Miles and all of your fun little animals, like what do you see for yourself? Where do you want to go? Because burnout is not the goal, and somehow we get there.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what I found is that the reason you feel burnt out is the shoulding all over yourself, like you said, Jen, which quit shoulding all over yourself was like one of the very first programs I did in my coaching. And I just love that, like, it's getting out there. But it was searching for what gives you fulfillment. So the reason you feel so burnt out is because you are forcing yourself to be someone that you're not. You're forcing yourself to do things that literally feel like pushing a boulder up a hill. Um, so there are, when you do what you love and you do the things that just naturally turn you on, you can do that all day and it doesn't feel like burnout at all, right? I say it's that it's whatever puts you in the zone, which Dr. Trivedi talks about, the zone of inspiration, but I just called it the zone. And it's like that zone where time flies when you're having fun. um, and and figuring out what that is. And so the first step is getting really honest with yourself. Like, who am I? What is it that I really want to be doing with my life? Like you said, Jen, who is it that I truly love to help? What is it that I would do for free? What are the things? And so with me, that is personal development, helping others, coaching, one-on-one connections. I love connecting people with each other, connecting them with resources, connecting them with their next steps. I love just sitting here and doing things like this, like hearing about other people's life stories. Um, and I'm able to take all of that and encompass it into my coaching business, which is how I, take all the different pieces of myself and express it into the world, helping other people. But then it's also like, you don't have to leave the corporate lifestyle to have a life that makes you feel fulfilled. Like you said, Jen, you're still working, and so am I. um, it was that the lack of fulfillment and my health, relationships, and sanity falling apart that like sent me searching for the answers that got me to coaching. And I ended up quitting my corporate job for 2 years just to like go full time into coaching, reset, get rid of that burnout. But then I ended up going back. But the difference is I'm doing what I love at my corporate job. I went back and said, hey, look, being a project manager just really isn't for me. I'm a people person. Would you be willing to take me back as a business development and marketing type role so I can do what I'm good at, which is connecting with people all day? And when I first started, that was 2 years ago. So here we are 2 years later, I'm doing that part-time and I'm doing my coaching business part-time. So I've got both things. It's just this beautiful, fulfilling mixture of things. And so my program that I do with women is called Having It All. And it's showing women that it is possible to truly have it all. You can't have everything, but you can have what means your all, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So it's really defining, like, what is it that brings you fulfillment, joy? What is your definition of success? And then figuring out how to incorporate that into your day to day.
Very cool. Very cool. And so like there's a lot of women today, I think men too, that face that they went to school for this thing, or maybe they got out of high school and they didn't go to college, but they got into this career field and it's paying the bills and it's been doing what it needs to do for my family, but it's not bringing me that fulfillment like you're talking about. And I think a lot of times we get stuck in that paycheck. I need that paycheck. What am I going to do? And I know that when I left my job for 2 years, I did not have everything. Like, you should be doing things like this in a totally different way than what I did them, by the way. Yes, I just should on you. But Like having your debts paid off would really be helpful. And like having a savings account really would be helpful if you're going to leave your job. But I can say for me, I had some of those things done, but I'm so thankful that I didn't, because it would have been my excuse to like, I would never have left my job. Like if I, well, once I get savings and and it was like, I was ready to jump off a cliff. That's how much I really hated my life at that time. Divorced. I was lonely. I was so sad. I was heartbroken. It was awful. And then my job, like you can talk to my colleagues because they rehired me. I went back just like you. I went back to the same building that I left for 2 years. They offered me a job, and they had seen my administration. They had seen me transform over those 2 years, and they had become my clients at my other job. And so they knew what I had gone through. They knew what personal development I had done on myself to make me better, because I don't like that word better, to help me grow and to be who I am and to love who I am, because I hated myself. And I don't know if any of you have ever felt that way, whether you've been divorced or not, whether you have children or not, whether you have a job you love or not. Like everybody can be there, whether it's for a day or for longer, and it's not a fun place to be. But if you're not willing to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do to find my fulfillment? And maybe it's going to be meeting somebody like Dr. Trivedi and joining his challenge, which I will talk to about later, but I'll put it in the chat bar so you guys can like check that out. Or if it's joining somebody like Rachel and her coaching program to learn more about, you know what, I don't want to learn from a crazy Indian doctor. I want to learn from a woman who's been through stuff. I want to know that somebody's been through it and can help me. And that's what Rachel can do. And so like, depending on what you're looking for, you can find that type of person. And here's the other cool part is with COVID, everybody's business went international overnight. And so Rachel, she lives in Houston.
Yeah, Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. And yes, it was very cold for her a couple weeks ago, but she survived and she's with us today because she wasn't with us when she was supposed to because it was way too cold. So
I have power.
She's not in Vegas. Like she doesn't understand. It's fine. She got real cold. We don't get real cold in Vegas. So she's here with us today, but like there are people out there for us. And if we're willing to open up, if we're willing to look, if we're willing to say, I need help. If it wouldn't be for my friend Dana Berg, who was a Bob Proctor thinking into results coach, who wasn't my friend when I met her. Well, who is when you meet somebody? But anyway, if I wouldn't have said yes to her help, I would not be where I am today. You know,
and that I want to emphasize that because I just made a post yesterday about my like me going on my coaching and getting my coaching master. It always starts with saying yes to self. Taking a stand for yourself, saying, yes, I am worth it. I am worthy to go after the things that I want, even if they seem cuckoo, insane, whatever. Like saying yes to self is like the magic. That's the magic step. Because when you say yes to self, that's when the universe is like, oh, she ain't playing, and like steps in, right? And I just love Dr. Trivedi. He has been an incredible mentor, and one of the bajillion quotes of his that I absolutely love is that all progress starts with telling the truth.
And I think for many times, especially us in America, we are continuously lying to ourselves and we compare ourselves to other people. Oh, well, she's skinnier than I am. She, you know, and then I feel better about myself because she's fatter than I am. And I, you know, my kids don't do that. So my kids aren't so bad, you know, and we all do it. We all do it. And I think it's almost like commonplace here in America for us to do. But really it's about us. What do I want to do for me? And like you said, say yes to me. What do I want for me in my life? And if you can't figure out exactly what you want, talk to somebody, find somebody, join our little Facebook page I've got here. I'm interviewing different women all the time, some men too, and just like get stories out there, because you know what? There's somebody who's just like you that's been through what you've been through and going through what you're going through that could be an inspiration to you, because they made a shift too and they stopped
Totally.
sitting on themselves. So,
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. And I would love to have you back again and share everybody with, share you with everybody and what you're doing for people. And maybe you can teach us a little bit of something next time. And some tips for how
I
to.
would love to. I would love to. I've got all sorts of stuff. And if y'all want to join us in the meantime, I've got High Achievers Happy Hour every other Thursday. Jen can hook you up. She's one of our regulars in that. And it's just a really fun collection of people who want to do more with their lives, who get together casually and talk about what they're celebrating, what their challenges are, and we just hold each other accountable and help each other out in a fun, relaxing environment. So
Very cool. So check that out in the chat bar or the comments or whatever they're called. And if you're interested in learning more about Rachel and Lion Frog Coaching, check out the chat bar. We'll put in her link so you guys can check things out and come and see what she's been doing. And have a wonderful weekend, everybody. It's Thursday, one more day till the weekend. And Rachel, I can't wait to see you again soon. And everybody look forward to seeing you again. And I'll let you guys know when we're going to have Rachel back on. Okay.
thank you so much,
Have
Jen.
a good night, everybody.
Bye.